Seattle's. He's Pete Carroll moments ago on the field with Heather.
Coach, over the last 4 games, your offense has alternated between putting up huge numbers and struggling to get in the end zone. What's the key to offensive consistency tonight?
Well, we got to convert on third down. It's always third downs. And we like to just be consistent, keep the ball. It's all about the football.
The Seahawks have lost the last 3 to the Rams, and 3 days ago the Rams fired their head coach. So what are you expecting out of them tonight?
I expect them to play really hard. That's how they always have played. It's the same guys out there. Most of the coaches say, I would expect them to play for Jeff. He's been a great leader for these guys. They've loved him. I would expect him to play really hard.
Pete, thank you so much. Now an injury update for you. The Rams did put 2 players on IR today. In fact, the league's second leading kick returner, Benny Cunningham, who's out with a neck injury, as well as defensive end Robert Quinn, who's still recovering from a concussion. Defensively, the Rams are also without 2 starters, and E.J. Gaines and Maurice Alexander.
All right, thank you, Heather. And that is Chris Peterson, who gets the honor of raising the flag for the 12s here, the head coach of the University of Washington Huskies, who will be going to the college football playoffs on New Year's Eve. He gets to take on Alabama. Always a great scene. So there is John Fossil. He's been a special teams coach for over a decade with Baltimore, Oakland, and the Rams in St. Louis and L.A. If the name sounds familiar, his father, Jim Fossil, took the Giants to the Super Bowl in 2000. Seattle will kick off. They won the toss, and the Seahawks have deferred. Stephen House going to kick off. Farrell Cooper, a rookie wide receiver, number 4 draft choice out of South Carolina, back to receive. And week 15 gets underway at CenturyLink Field in Seattle as Cooper takes it at the 5 and brings the ball back out to the 25-yard line. And let's take a look at the Rams offense.
Jared Goff, Cal. Todd Gurley, Georgia.
Kenny Britt, Rutgers, New Jersey.
Tavon Dawson, West Virginia University.
Farrell Cooper, South Carolina.
Lance Kendricks, Wisconsin. Greg Robinson, Auburn.
Roger Saffold, Indiana.
Tim Barnes, Missouri.
Andrew Donnell, Iowa.
Rob Havenstein, Wisconsin.
So John Fossil is the head coach tonight, but Rob Boris is the offensive coordinator. He'll call the plays. Greg Williams is the defensive coordinator. He'll take care of that side of the ball. And here we go from the 25-yard line. Goff, the number 1 overall pick in the draft out of the University of California, stays in the pocket, and the first pass is incomplete off the hands of Lance Kendricks. So there was Goff waiting for the draft, and he said to us last night that getting drafted by the Rams was a dream for him. And of course, what the Rams had to do is trade up with Tennessee. They really mortgaged a little bit of the future to get him. And then Goff just sat on the bench because Case Keenum was their quarterback for the first 9 games. His record was 4-5. Goff is 0-4 in his 4 starts. And they set up a screen here, but that will go nowhere. Todd Gurley gets taken down by Cam Chancellor, and here are the Seattle starters.
Michael Bennett, Texas A&M.
Ataba Rubin, Iowa State.
Tony McDaniel, Tennessee.
Cliff Averill, Boilermaker.
Mike Morgan, USC.
Bobby Wagner, D, Utah State. KJ Wright, Mississippi State.
Richard Sherman, Stanford.
Cam Chancellor, Virginia Tech.
Stephen Terrell, Texas A&M.
Deshaun Shedd, Portland State.
Terrell taking the place of Earl Thomas, who broke his leg a couple of weeks ago and is done for the season. So they spread it out on the 3rd and 12, and look out, and down he goes as Frank Clark comes in for the sack. And that's 8.5 sacks, and for the Rams, pretty bad first drive, obviously. 4th and 21, and comes the punting group.
This is a standard move. They're going to come out and then take that direct line to the quarterback right there. And this Seattle Seahawks defense definitely hungry for some sacks. They feel like they have been on the short end of that, and they expect to be very active tonight.
Johnny Hecker, as good as any punter in the league, could even be their MVP. He's had plenty of practice this season. And that kick is fielded at the 35-yard line by Tyler Lockett. Good coverage by Fossil's special teams. And we'll take a look at the Seattle offense as they come out onto the field.
Russell Wilson from the whole pack of Badgers.
Thomas Rawls, Central Michigan.
Doug Baldwin, Stanford.
Jermaine Kearse, University of Washington.
Tyler Lockett, Kansas State.
Jimmy Graham, the U.
George Fant, Western Kentucky.
Mark Walensky, West Virginia. Justin Britt, LHS, MIZ.
Jermaine Ifedi, Giga Maggies.
Bradley Sowell, Ole Miss.
That Seattle offense, middle of the pack, 13th in the league overall, 22nd in points. The running game has gotten better since Thomas Rawls got healthy. And before they can snap it, we have a false start. Brad Allen is tonight's ref.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Left guard Mark Glowinski. Pete Carroll. Of course, heralded spectacular career at USC. Before that, 1 year as the head coach of the Jets back in the 90s, 3 years in New England. And here, seeking another NFC West crown, which he can win tonight. They're 3 games up on Arizona with 3 to go. So on 1st and 15, Wilson off the play fake will throw, and that's caught at the 40-yard line, taken in there by Marcel Reese, the fullback. So Wilson, hurt early in the season, ankle and knee in weeks 1 and 3. Then he got healthy, was playing better. It looked like the Seahawks had really put it together. Then last week, the 5 interceptions. So here's a guy who's thrown 8 of his 10 interceptions in the last 3 weeks after throwing 2 in the first 10, Chris.
But that was a bizarre game last week. A lot of tip passes and balls bouncing off of receivers. It was a crazy day.
2nd and 6, and that's thrown behind Tyler Lockett. It'll be 3rd down and 6, and let's take a look at the Los Angeles defense.
William Hayes, Winston-Salem State. Aaron Donald, Pittsburgh.
Michael Brockers, LSU.
Eugene Sims, Mississippi. Alec Ogletree, Georgia.
Mark Barron, Alabama.
Tremaine Johnson, Montana.
TJ McDonald, University of Southern California.
Cody Davis, Texas Tech.
Mike Jordan, Missouri Western State University.
DeMarcus Joyner, Florida State University.
Strength of the team, no doubt, on that side of the ball. 10th overall defensively, 8th against the pass. 3rd down and 6 from the 41. And Wilson gets it away in a hurry, and it's caught. And let's see where forward progress is here as Tyler Lockett makes the catch. The line judge takes a look. The crowd is saying, come on, move forward. They can see it on the big screen here. Put the ball down. It's going to be very close.
Yeah, that's a little closer than where it was marked originally. It's very close to being right on the first down marker. So if they give that an official spot, Pete Carroll probably going to want to have a second look at that one.
Pete Carroll is standing right in front of it. That happened directly in front of Carroll on the Seattle sideline.
Pete's pointing about 3 yards in front of the marker.
Right. He's right there. The official sticks are on the other side of the field, so they have to walk those over. Looks to me with the naked eye is going to be a little bit short.
I tell you, these Rams and Seahawks games have been so low scoring. This might be one that Pete Carroll's willing to take a look at even this early in the game.
Yeah, well, he will.
I mean, it looks like the ball is on the first down side of that marker just with the naked eye, but
well, you don't want to have to challenge something 2.5 minutes into the game, but he will. And so Brad Allen will go under the hood.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been changed. The runner made the line to gain. It will be 1st down and 10 for Seattle at the 47-yard line. The game clock will start on my signal. Seattle is not charged with a timeout.
Well, there's a clear shot of it here. It's hard to win these challenges, but in this particular case, the coverage is great. And you could see where the contact was made. The stick was right there. And so they give him the 1st down. Carroll wins the challenge, and Seattle gets the game's first down.
Yeah, and the key to it was they could see control and contact just beyond the stick, so it ended up being the perfect shot to challenge.
Now from the 47, the pass is caught by Graham, and he gets taken down as a good tackle on the outside. T.J. McDonald out of the University of Southern California. His dad, of course, was a great safety in his day. Makes the stop.
Boy, they really had this set up, and T.J. McDonald just found a way to weave through there to make that play. The one thing you'll really appreciate watching, well, both these defenses, but the Rams defense in particular, they play hard. I know what the record is, and I know what's going on with his football team. There's Greg Williams. He insists that these guys are playing hard.
And they stop Rawls here in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. That's Eugene Simmons. And it will be third down. What are we going to call this Seattle color tonight? The color rush uniforms. The good thing is you can see the numbers for a change.
Well, you should name it. You got a couple of suits that look about like that.
Right, sure,
like
right.
To wear around L.A.
Yeah, on Halloween.
That look. What the heck? I can read the numbers. I'm happy. We've had a couple of Thursday nights where it's tough to read the numbers, so I'm happy.
I think they're calling it what? Action green? All right. Call it action green. And they got action on the offensive front. Another false start here, the second against Seattle.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Jermaine Ifedi, who was their #1 draft choice out of Texas A&M.
You know what's amazing is how much better the Seattle offense has been at home compared to what they have been on the road. 28, almost 29 points a game at home, just 14.5 on the road, and it has really been at times two different teams.
They're going to run a draw here with Rawls, and he'll be taken down at the 46-yard line. And in comes the Seattle punt team. These teams, of course, meet twice a year. A lot of familiarity out there on the field, and 3 wins in a row. Season sweep last year when the Rams were in St. Louis, and then in the second week of this season in the Coliseum, the Rams won the game 9-3. Tavon Austin back to receive the punt at the 10. John Ryan, in his 11th season in the league, descended skyward. And Austin's going to let it go, and it bounds out of bounds at about the 13-yard line right there. 9:56 left in the opening quarter on Thursday Night Football. No score. Thursday Night Football being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. By Papa John's, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. By Farmers Insurance, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. And by Walmart, find gifts, groceries, and more this season. Some of the guys who have had the honor of raising the flag. Meanwhile, you had an unsportsmanlike conduct call on that man at the end of the punt play, Cassius Marsh. He was called for flipping. You get my drift, don't you? He had a gesture made toward one of the Rams and it cost him 15 yards. Seattle already has 3 penalties in the game. From the 28-yard line, Todd Gurley is the running back as they come up in the eye here. And he goes in behind Brown, who had lined up as the fullback, swinging to the outside, and Gurley is taken out of bounds by Richard Sherman after a gain of 3.
Yeah, they're going with extra offensive linemen tonight to try and get something going. Jamon Brown is the fullback right in front of Todd Gurley there. And their feeling was that Tampa Bay had some pretty good success with playing power football. Now they've got a few nicked up tight ends out there for the Rams, so they were going to use some additional offensive linemen at various positions, one of those now being fullback.
That was a 2-yard gain. It's second down and 8 now from the 30. And on an end around, this is Austin, the wide receiver who does carry the ball a lot, and he'll come up about a yard shy of a first down.
Well, right off the bat, I think the Rams and John Fossil fully realized that this is a pretty tough defense at home. He may have to pull out a little special teams trick, which he's been known to do on occasion. He may have to pull out a couple of reverses like that. But this is a much better situation. First time around, 3rd and 10. There's Jim Fossil, the proud papa, I'm sure.
John calling Jim when he got the job and said, come on up. arrived today. He's on the sideline. 3rd down and 3 now. Play clock at 1. 4-man rush. Fired, caught at the 40-yard line. Kenny Britt makes the catch, leads the team with 64 receptions now, and the Rams have their initial first down.
One of the reasons that I thought that Jared Goff might be a good brother, somebody down on the field.
So it's one of the Rams. It might be Britt who caught that last pass, so an injury time out here. NFL Thursday Night Football being presented by Bud Light, beer with your team on it. So Britt jogged off the field, looked like a wrist or a shoulder injury, upper body. He's on the sideline after making the catch. Michael Thomas takes his spot from the 41-yard line. Good play action going deep downfield and open and dropping it at the 13-yard line is Michael Thomas, who had just come into the game to take the place of Britt. Had him, beat the defense. The rookie out of Southern Mississippi can't hold on.
I cannot believe the number of drops these Rams receivers have had over the past 3 games or so. This is a perfectly thrown ball. They've beaten the defense cleanly. And Mike Thomas, the rookie, just cannot hang on. You just have to wonder, would that have been Kenny Britt's ball there if he had been in the game and not injured? But boy, that is just a killer against this defense. You don't get many shots like that.
They work on Britt. Meanwhile, he had beaten Thomas, had Terrell, the safety, Stephen Terrell taking the place of the injured Earl Thomas. Big hole here. And before he gets gang tackled, he picks up the first down. Todd Gurley. Some tough running there across the 50 and into Seattle territory.
Yeah, nicely done by the center. Tim Barnes going to get out and backside here as well. But Tim Barnes with that initial block. And for Todd Gurley, Al, he's a much better back, in my opinion, when he's in the I formation. The problem is that Jared Goff is a much better quarterback out of shotgun, and they've been trying to blend those two during the course of the last 3 or 4 games, but it's not easy.
And it's been tough for Gurley, who comes into the game averaging only 3.3 yards per carry. Had a great year last year. Here he goes again through the middle and takes the ball to the 45-yard line, gain of 3, making it 2nd down and 7 for the Rams. And here's Britt on the sideline. Can they get him back in the game? Came over from the Titans, and they work on his arm or shoulder.
Yeah, it's really too bad. He's had a pretty terrific season. He's just 63 yards short of 1,000 coming into this game. Caught that first one, but you could see that right side bothering him.
2nd down and 8. Straight back in the pocket. And then that is caught. Trying to get the first down there is the tight end Lance Kendricks. He gets spun down by Cam Chancellor, a little bit short of the first down. 3rd and 1.
Looked like they jumped off sides, the Seahawks did as well. So may opt for 2nd and about 2 as opposed to 3rd and 1.
Right, so that's the first decision that John Fossil has to make in this regard. And he says 2 fingers up indicating give me 2nd down again.
Defense number 91. 5 yards from the previous spot. It remains 2nd down.
Already 2 penalties on Marsh, the unsportsmanlike conduct, now the offside.
You know, this looks like the Jared Goff that I watched in college. One of the reasons I thought he could have some success in the National Football League is most young quarterbacks tend to hold the ball too long. In this league, about 2.5 seconds is all you get. And this offensive line has struggled a bit as well. But so far, he's dropping back, getting the ball out of his hand quickly. Just take those 5-yarders. That's the way to play Seattle.
Kenny Britt comes back into the game. 2nd down and 3. Play action. Fires over the middle. And that is caught for a first down by Brian Quick. So the Rams, a good-looking drive that started at their own 28-yard line, deep into Seattle territory, and now coming to the line without a huddle.
Just the back end of the throw, and you see KJ Wright trying to catch up. But a lot of teams work this Seattle defense with those deep over routes.
From the 16 to the outside, going to the ground is Kenny Britt. to make the catch for a short gain. 2nd and 5.
You know, this is for Kenny Britt the first year that he's ever been over 50 catches and the first year ever over 800 yards. Not the fastest guy in the world, big, strong guy. And so far, this drive looks a little bit like one of the opening drives against Atlanta. They got down to about here, threw a slant, bounced off Britt, interception. The whole game tended to fall apart. But now we're starting to see multiple games where they're at least moving it between the 20s here.
2nd down and 5. See if they can cash in here. A little more than 5 minutes to go. Opening quarter with no score in Seattle. Gurley. And he'll take it to about the 7-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Rams.
We're on the backside. Big Roger Saffold, probably the best of these Rams offensive linemen, working against Michael Bennett. Saffold just sort of slung him out of there. Big 3rd down now, and for Jared Goff, it's going to be plenty loud at this end of the stadium.
This is the 10th play of a balanced drive. 5 runs, 4 passes. They picked up 3 first downs on this journey, and on 3rd down and 1, Goff has protection.
Oh,
now he is an open man and can't hit him. Brian Quick wide open in the end zone. So drop passes, missed fired passes, and they'll have to settle. We'll see.
No, they will not settle.
Yeah, they might not. I mean,
they definitely will not. Remember what Fossil was telling us last night? Said we will definitely go for it in these short yardage situations on the goal line or inside the 50. But for Jared Goff, that is huge. He just got too excited. He had all the time in the world, perfect protection, and just missed it.
Well, you're 4-9. You're a 2-touchdown underdog. Why not? 4th and 1, but they got to get the play off here because the play clock is down to nothing. And of all things, did anybody call a timeout in time?
Fossil was out there. I think he got it.
Charge timeout. Los Angeles. Their first. It will be a 30-second timeout.
Yeah, just barely. So one of the reasons Fossil gets the job, the special teams coach, he talks to everybody. They wanted to keep Boris running the offense, Greg Williams running the defense. You also have Mike Singletary on the staff. You have Dave McGinnis, who was a head coach on the staff, but they go with the special teams coach.
Yeah, and it was interesting that he made these decisions before the game. He said, I don't even want to think about them. If we're inside the 50-yard line and it's short yardage, we're going for it on 4th down. If we're down in the red zone and it's short yardage, we're going for it. So everybody on that sideline knew going into this play they'd be going for it. It was interesting they came out in a shotgun formation, though, when Gurley is much better. Now they're back under center. This may actually have helped them.
Rams this season are 6 for 13 on 4th down. A little toss. Gurley puts his head down, keeps those legs churning. Going to be close. Bobby Wagner, who leads the league in tackles, is the first guy to get there. See where they put the ball down. I mean, it's going to be as close as it was when Carroll won the challenge. The way they put it down right here, it looks like he's going to get it.
Unbelievable. What a play by Bobby Wagner to just take a 225-pound back and drive him straight backwards. He may have gotten it, but that was a pretty spectacular linebacker play.
So they put the ball down. They're going to bring the sticks in again. Can you imagine if they pick up the first down and then Carroll's told from upstairs they don't have it, that Carroll would challenge again?
You might have to here.
The question is, if you want to challenge, do you have a clear shot? So the Rams are going to get a first down. The guys upstairs, I'm sure, are telling Pete Carroll what they see. And another look here.
You've got to have that landmark, so can you really tell where that ball is? No, not from that shot.
That would be too tough to challenge. But he's thrown the flag. Now, if he loses this challenge, he's out of challenges. If he wins the challenge, he gets a 3rd challenge.
Seattle is challenging the ruling on the field, and the line of game was made.
So in the first 11 minutes of the game, Pete Carroll has challenged 2 spots. So this is still being reviewed. What you really need, as Chris said, you need a landmark. Where's the landmark, though? I mean, you really can't tell from this angle exactly where forward progress gets stopped.
The ball gets covered up there, but it did look like, I will say, my own opinion is, did he make it to that yellow line?
Right.
I didn't think so. This, I don't think, has any landmark to say, okay, he made it to here. Where would you mark it? So to me, that one's totally out. But I thought the other one looked like he did not get to that yellow line if they're willing to base it off of that.
So if Carroll wins the challenge, he has one more, and he gets the ball. If he loses the challenge, the Rams would have a first down, and he would be out of challenges. And here comes Brad Allen to tell us all about it.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been changed. The runner did not make the line to gain. To replace the ball at the 6.5-yard line, it will be Seattle's ball, first down. Seattle is not charged a timeout and will be granted another challenge.
All right, well, that was probably the right call in my opinion. Two things. Bobby Wagner's play was incredible. Todd Gurley has to make that first down. Todd Gurley's a 225-pound back. He put his head down and got completely stuffed by Bobby Wagner. Now, I'll give Wagner credit, but remember, Gurley was the one that was outspoken a week ago after that game. That was the first down he needed to make.
And so for the Rams, a 65-yard, 11-play drive that took almost 6 minutes results in zip. Seahawks have it from the 7. And now Rawls takes the inside handoff. Gets to the 11-yard line. Rawls got hurt early in the season. Christian Michael took over for the most part as their running back. Then they sent him away when Rawls got healthy, and that running game has been a heck of a lot better over the last 4 weeks.
Boy, has it ever. And you know, Thomas Rawls was a guy that I first got excited watching him practice. He may be the only player that I ever got excited just watching him in practice, but some of his lateral quickness will startle you tonight as we continue to watch this game.
A 2nd and 6. Wilson, will he keep it? He will, but he'll slide to a stop at the 8-yard line, and that'll make it 3rd down and long. Wilson's been doing a lot more running of late since he got healthy, but in this particular case, to no avail.
I'm not so sure that Russell Wilson didn't see the danger his guy was in about to take that one, because there really wasn't a route being run down the field. Like that, you could almost see that Rawls kind of jumped out of the way of that handoff because Cody Davis was breathing right down his throat. This would be a big stand by the Rams if they could make this one.
3rd down and 9. Play clock at 1. And Wilson going deep down the left sideline and making the catch is Tyler Lockett in front of the Rams bench. Good coverage by Mike Jordan, the corner, but he threw it to the outside right there, 29 yards, first down.
And that's the weak spot right there, coming off of the other side. Mike Jordan, they've had a lot of guys. B.J. Gaines is typically the cornerback over there, but that was a tremendous gutsy throw that time by Russell Wilson. And Tyler Lockett with another big play.
Seahawks up at the 37. 2:20 to go in a scoreless first quarter. Off the play fake, catches made. That's Lockett again for a gain of about 6. Against the Rams, I mean, Russell Wilson has had so much success against so many other teams, but against the Rams, 4-5 in his 9 games. Well, 50, 17-1 against everybody else. 19 points a game against the Rams is what the Hawks have averaged in Wilson starts. 26 points against everybody else. So the Rams have had the Seahawks number over the past couple of seasons.
Remember how hurt Russell Wilson was, though, the first time these two teams met earlier this year.
Had an ankle injury in the opener. He went down to LA the next week under pressure here and gets it away. Incomplete. Intended for a curse over the middle. Wilson goes down and gets assisted up, and it's 3rd down and 4.
Well, no matter who you are, when you play this football team, you have to take care of Aaron Donald. He is one of the absolute best, goes right through Glowinski, and you will see so many times that he is able at about 6'1" to get under those big offensive linemen's pads and push them up and go underneath them to make the play.
3rd and 4. Wilson under pressure again, but he will scramble and runs for a first down. Slides to a stop at the LA 47-yard line. Gain of 9.
That's a play he just simply couldn't make the first time around. Anytime you rush 4, there is going to be a gap somewhere. And on 3rd down, more often than not, Russell Wilson will find it. Nice job by Glowinski on that one against Aaron Donald.
At the 48-yard line, they go to the Wildcat here. You have Tanner McAvoy. He's a rookie out of Wisconsin. He's going to take the snap. You've got Lockett taking the inside give. Then he's going to give it back to Wilson, who is lined up outside. And Wilson throws deep downfield, and it is almost picked off. Knocked down, intended for Baldwin. That's Cody Davis, who stays with his man to break it up.
Well, you got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Tanner McAvoy was a quarterback, a safety, and a wide receiver at Wisconsin. Here comes your quarterback back around, and he lofts it down. It was really pretty much underthrown to Doug Baldwin, and Cody Davis able to get back and make a play. Doug Baldwin just slipped.
And so back we come to the 48-yard line for a 2nd down and 10 in the final minute of the opening quarter. Wilson sprinting away and then taken down on the scrimmage. That is William Hayes making the stop.
How about the hustle here by William Hayes? I mean, Russell Wilson can go, and it's like a knee brace got damaged there.
Yeah. He'll need some repairs. It's a good time to do it, too, because we're going to go to the end of the first quarter. It looked like it came loose when he slid to his stop.
Would you call a timeout here and force him on his 3rd down to play with a backup quarterback? They could get it changed quickly, but you don't know if they could do it in time. Guess not.
No, he won't. No score. End of 1 Thursday Night Football continues after these messages from your local station. Aerial coverage being provided by Geico. Beautiful shot downtown Seattle. There's the Ferris wheel. Elliott Bay in the foreground. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Heather Cox on Thursday Night Football. It is 3rd down and 10. They repaired the knee brace for Wilson. Throws to the outside, and that is Tyler Lockett, who sprung free for a big first down from deep in his own territory, and he gets one here.
Well, sometimes the Rams blitz so much they get burned off of it. That time they bring the slot blitzer, so instead of having 3 guys out there to defend the screen, they have 2, and that's what set it up. And a great job by Lockett going for it in that way to pick up that first down.
Working on Jordan again, taking the spot of the injured DJ Gaines. This will be the 10th play of this drive. Wilson overshooting the intended receiver. That is Luke Wilson. And the flag down.
Roughing the passer. Defense doing 91. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
That is the former Patriot Dominique Easley.
Yeah, a blow to the head coming through there. And this bunch believes. Watch it right there. A little shot with the elbow right to the head. But this defense is really all about making legal hits on the quarterback. There'll be an occasional one that's not so legal, but you know, they want to rough up the quarterback. That is what they're about. They have a great defensive line, and they're missing one of their best, Robert Quinn, tonight.
Through the middle, gain of 3. Thomas Rawls. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, one of the guys that's really fun to watch for the Rams is right here, their middle linebacker and leading tackler, Alec Ogletree. They like to play him just a little bit deeper maybe than some middle linebackers because he's so fast and he's so athletic. He replaced James Laurinaitis in there as that middle linebacker. He used to play outside the will linebacker position, but now he has that great speed going sideline to sideline.
Hawks bring in the extra offensive lineman. They toss it to Rawls. gain of 1, and that will make it 3rd down and 6. Early second quarter. Seahawks started this drive at their own 7-yard line. This will be the 12th play upcoming.
You know, what a difference Thomas Rawls has made for this team. The last 4 games with him back in there, 164 yards a game, just 77 yards per game in their first 9. And the Seahawks really need that. I mean, you know, they get totally dependent on Russell Wilson, and he can make some plays. But when they get the complementary stuff going like they always have with Marshawn Lynch and then go play action, that's when they're tough.
Seahawks take a timeout here before 3rd and 6. Later tonight, Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show, Casey Affleck, and Solange are the guests on The Tonight Show right here on NBC. There is Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Rams, moving the team and in the process right now of building a stadium in Inglewood, which will open in 2019 and host the Super Bowl in 2020. Stan also owns the Colorado Avalanche of the NHL, the Denver Nuggets of the NBA, and Arsenal over in London. Quite the portfolio on 3rd down and 6 here as Wilson rolls to his right, then throws, and that is caught. And you're going to have another one of these very close to a 1st down situations here. Doug Baldwin makes the catch. Crowd doesn't like where they spotted it. It's going to be short of the 1st down. And he's not going to challenge again, is he?
He was right there on the marker, but then had to come back to basically gain control of that ball. I thought he was a little short of the marker, but depends on what they felt about that.
Well, I mean, Pete has another challenge because he's 1-2. So I mean, this is something that's never happened. I mean, we don't know officially, but I'm going to bet like $10 million. It's never happened. We have 3 challenges on spots in the first 18 minutes of the game.
$10 million? $9
million. When they put this rule into effect about the extra challenge if you win 2 in 1999, no coach has ever won
Seattle
3 challenges.
is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was short of the line of game.
Here we go again under the hood. Call on the field short of a 1st down. Here's
After
Brett
reviewing
Allen.
the play, the ruling on the field stands. Runners are short of the line of game. It is 4th down. Seattle is charged with timeout and their final challenge.
So Pete Carroll wins 2 challenges, loses the 3rd, and now he is out of challenges, period.
Here's my understanding of the rule, and we'll check during the next commercial break, that if you go out of bounds sort of sideways, it's where the ball crosses the out of bounds line that they'll mark it. Now, if you're running straight down the boundary and you dive and extend, they'll give you the full extent of that. I'm not positive on that one, but that's what I think it is.
Well, they didn't have enough evidence to overturn it, so it's 4th and 1, and they'll go for it. And a little lofted pass is short, intended for Marcel Reese, but there's a penalty at the 7-yard line. And it's going to go against the Rams.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense. After this is the goal, automatic, 1st down.
Alec Ogletree here is going to try and get over the top to go out and get Reese, the fullback. And in doing so, he sort of hooks Wilson, who talks the official into that flag there. So that little hook was just enough right there on Wilson. That's a good call. And Wilson sold it.
Pleaded his case and won it. The ball is at the 8 on a 1st and goal now. And Wilson rolling against the grain, throws, caught, and into the end zone goes Luke Wilson for the touchdown. .93 yards. It took him 13 plays for the game's first score.
Nice job there by Wilson, selling the fact that he was blocking first. Coverage folds back to the other people, and well done by Russell Wilson to get it out over the top there. So two completely opposite drives. It was the Rams who missed the pass in the end zone, dropped the one that would have been a touchdown down the field, couldn't convert on fourth down. The Seahawks did the complete opposite of that in almost every situation and come away with a touchdown.
Aided by a defensive holding call as Hauska comes in for the extra point. It is good to make it 7-0 Seattle. 12:21 to go into half on Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football being brought to you by Lexus, who wishes you happy holidays, by Macy's, by Samsung Pay, turn your phone into your wallet, and by Magnificent 7 on Blu-ray December 20th, now on digital. Well, it's Trinity Tree Farm, Seattle area, over 1.5 million Christmas trees harvested in the state of Washington this year on this cold night. 37 degrees, cloudy skies, 7-0 Seattle. And Hauska sends it down to Farrell Cooper. Tries to get in behind some blocking, but can only get to the 15-yard line. There's going to be a face mask call here with the flag thrown. A little better starting field position coming
During
up.
return, personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 86 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Brandon Williams. Premier League Sunday on NBCSN. You've got Man City hosting Arsenal at 10:30 Eastern. Premier League Sunday coverage begins at 7:30 a.m. on NBCSN. And speaking of Arsenal, we talked about Stan Kroenke before. There he is. Rams. And there you have Paul Allen, minority owner of the Seattle Sounders, won the MLS championship. He owns the Portland Trailblazers, who are playing the Denver Nuggets tonight. So you've got Allen and Kroenke in two different venues in two different sports.
They need their own sports bar.
They told me. Meanwhile, you've got falling down is Malcolm Brown as he took the handoff. First-year guy out of Texas. So he can stop back of the line of scrimmage, and it'll be second down.
I have no idea what the Rams were doing on that one. I mean, completely unblocked. They just let KJ Wright run right through there. You're going to get right here on right, and they're going to go that way, and then that's not good.
That was a little John Madness right there. I like that. That way. Anyway, you got an A from the league office on that explanation on the spot.
Oh, good.
There you go. 2nd and 14, a gold star. And Goff throws, and that is incomplete. Kenny Britt, the intended receiver, so it's 3rd and 14 now.
Now, out of all the things, that's so typical for a young quarterback and a receiver that he's not used to throwing it to. Goff was expecting Britt to hook inside. Instead, Britt hooked outside, and they're very lucky Richard Sherman didn't walk that one in the end zone.
Third and 14, caught over the middle. Austin makes the catch. Tries to get free, but a whole bunch of action green shirts stop him at the 30-yard line. Jeremy Lane leading the charge, and the Rams will kick.
I mean, the really hard part is if you want to get a young quarterback going, you have to throw it on early downs, because that's when play action will still work and all this stuff. And unfortunately, the Rams also know that this running game has not been working all year, despite the fact they've got Todd Gurley, one of the best young backs in football. So, you know, what do you do?
And Hecker's going to fake it, and it's incomplete. He's had a lot of success in the past doing that. This time the intended receiver was Michael Thomas, and that gives Seattle the ball in Ram territory at the 30.
Oh, have you ever shot a free throw out where the elbow doesn't quite extend? It's exactly what happened on this one. Hecker, watch this. He just short arms it. He just didn't get it there. Oh, it wasn't really set up anyway because they were coming back 3 yards short of the marker. You got to at least drive them past the marker, and Mike Thomas and Hecker, probably worst of all, John Fossil, a little sick over a play that should have worked.
Absolutely. At the 30-yard line, well, he said he was going to be aggressive, and he wasn't kidding. Now you got a backhanded flip from Wilson to Wilson. That's a 2-yard gain. Let's go to Heather.
Guys, Johnny Hecker was actually a high school quarterback. He told me that playing quarterback actually helped him as a punter. It improved his hands by taking so many snaps. I talked to him pregame. He was actually warming up his arm. He said, this is something I normally do with Coach Fossil. He's obviously busy today, but certainly knew that they were going to try to go for that fake, and very disappointed in that reaction.
Yeah, you saw him on the sideline, Heather, and of course, John Fossil, the special teams coach. Hecker, one of the best punters in the league. Pulled off a few of those in this one. Whoa, he gets smothered as William Hayes and T.J. McDonald took care of Thomas Rawls immediately. 3rd and 15.
There we go, right here. Watch this one. Splitting the defense, and as a running back, there are occasions as a running back you would prefer to not take the handoff. That's where fumbles sometimes happen too. But Thomas Rawls knew exactly what was about to happen to him.
Spread it out here. Empty backfield. Wilson fires over the middle, and it's a short gain. Doug Baldwin taken down by McDonald. Hecker in the past has thrown a touchdown against the Seahawks. You go back to 2012. And wide open in the end zone for the score there. Jeff Fisher, the head coach, back in St. Louis. Meanwhile, here we've got a 48-yard attempt coming up now for Stephen Hauschka to try to make this a 10-0 ball game. Hauschka sends that one right down the middle. 8:45 left in the opening half. The Seahawks on top, 10-0. NFL Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light. Beer with your team on it. And next Thursday night, 22nd of December, it's the New York Giants going down the turnpike to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And they're the standings in the NFC East right now. Dallas at 11-2, and the Giants beating Dallas last Sunday night at 9-4. So it's 10-0 as Hauschka will send it down again to Pharaoh Cooper, fielding at the 2-yard line. Nice little slip move there. Pick up some extra yardage, gets up to the 21, and we go to Heather.
Well, in honor of Throwback Thursday, Al, here's a 7-year-old Jared Goff playing. Here he is, Jared, playing Little League Baseball with his dad, Jerry, who played in the majors and was also his coach. Richard Sherman played football, basketball, baseball, and track while growing up in Compton, California. And a young Tyler Lockett, the wide receiver who's originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And my personal favorite, Alec Ogletree's first birthday in his hometown of Noonan, Georgia. Guys, we need your pictures to throw in there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, well,
we looked like that at dinner last night.
Yes, we did. You're right. Bunch of 1-year-olds from the 21-yard line with 8.5 to go in the half. Goff has that one knocked down, deflected and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down. It's Tony McDaniel. Well, the Rams, a lot of things going on, obviously. Had a chance to speak briefly with Jeff Fisher today. He said, I'm fine. He said, you know, I'm going to get back into it. He said, I'm not done. He said, I'm going to coach again. It's a very interesting dynamic what took place on Monday at the Rams facility. They lost that game to Atlanta. They were routed on Sunday, and then on Monday morning, Kevin Demoff, who was the chief operating officer with flags down here for a false start, told Jeff,
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Greg Robinson, that he was fired, and then Fisher was allowed to address the team, and Fisher was also the man who talked to Fossil and told him that he was going to get the job.
Yeah, when we talked to John Fossil about it, he said, first thing was I was crushed for Coach Fisher. I had no idea it was coming. And he said before he accepted the job or talked to the team or anything, he spent about an hour with Jeff Fisher to make sure he had his blessing to actually do this, because I'm not sure that John would have.
Second down and 15. They run a draw here. This is Gurley. Nice run here out to the 27. You know, a lot of times, Chris, as you well know, if a team doesn't do well and the coach gets fired, it's almost cause for celebration. It happens from time to time. We've seen it. Not in this case. These players loved, they loved Jeff Fisher, and a lot of them were crushed. We talked to them last night, talked before the game today, and they felt that they let him down. It wasn't coaching. All of them were saying, almost in unison, we didn't play well.
I've been in that situation, and you feel very guilty as a player when your head coach gets fired.
Especially in this case. There was a lot of love for Jeff Fisher. Third down and 5 from the 26-yard line.
Whoops.
And you don't have a flag. Now you do have a flag at the 24-yard line, so you have a free play. It's one of those things where you can almost stop the play beforehand, unimpeded to the quarterback.
That was borderline dangerous.
Very.
Offside. Defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
Yeah, definitely unabated to the quarterback for sure right here. So he's gone. And give Cliff Averill a little credit. Now, I'm sure that he would have liked to have wrapped him up and ended that play, but there are some guys that would have taken the quarterback's head off right there if they hadn't blown that whistle.
6 penalties against the Seahawks tonight. Ball at the 31-yard line. It was a 3rd and 5, so it gives them a first down with 7:45 to go in the half. Play fake, stepping up. Goff fires as he was contacted. Michael Bennett comes in to make contact with him, incomplete.
All right, Mr. LA guy, can't wait to get a team back in Los Angeles. You might get 2. Who we're going to have as the coach of the Rams next year?
Well, there's a lot of speculation. You and I both know whenever any coach gets fired, what are the names? John Gruden, can you get him out of the ESPN booth? Jim Harbaugh, even though he's only been in Michigan for 2 years. Nick Saban, would he ever leave Tuscaloosa? Of course, they're the darlings in terms of the fans and the media, but I don't think any of those guys. Well, I don't know about Gruden. I just don't know.
Pete Carroll's name has been mentioned a few times too, so you're going to hear it all for a little while.
Pete Carroll, I think, would be about 500 to 1 to wind up in LA. And the pass is incomplete. And I say that because, I don't see Paul Allen letting Pete Carroll out of his contract, which extends for another couple of years, to go and coach a team in the same division.
No, you clearly don't, unless Pete Carroll were to somehow come to him and say, hey, listen, I really want to go. And I don't think that's happening either. So then you start going down the other list, right, of guys who may be interested in that job. And Kyle Shanahan certainly is one. Josh McDaniels is at the top of the list. And with a young quarterback, you got to think it's going to be an offensive-minded guy with the way they've been so horrible on offense for the past 5 years.
And you named the 2 hottest assistants, I think, up for coaching positions as they envelop Mr. Goff here. Cliff Averill coming in. They may give multiple guys the sack here, but down he goes, and it will be 4th down.
Now, one of the problems when you get everything covered right there, then that means your back on the outside has to try to take on the blitzer off the edge, and that clearly was not what Todd Gurley was able to do in that situation. That was a meeting at the quarterback in the pocket.
2 sacks for the Seahawks tonight. Lockett is back. Calls for the fair catch and makes it off the foot of Hecker at the 28-yard line. 6:47 left in the half. 10-0 Seahawks.
One of the absolute best players in the National Football League, Aaron Donald, and he has been so consistent in 2016 through week 14. Look at these numbers: 7 sacks, 19 hits, 42 quarterback hurries along the way, 68 combined disruptions, third most in the NFL. Only Von Miller, Olivier Vernon ahead of him. Obviously outside guys. 15.5% of the snaps he's getting pressure, and that's the second highest by an interior defender since 2010. And of course, J.J. Watt, the only other guy. J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, those two more or less in a class by themselves as far as interior pressure goes.
Pittsburgh kid through and through, grew up there, went to the University of Pittsburgh. And now Seattle from the 28-yard line, they set up a screen, and that's blown up by Alec Ogletree right there to corral Rawls as he makes the catch.
Well, I tell you what, when Alec Ogletree decides to go somewhere, he goes there fast. I mean, he read this screen, and the minute he saw it, he was all over Thomas Rawls in the backfield. And, you know, they play a former safety, Mark Barron, as the other linebacker, so they really are speed-based at that linebacker position now.
Second down and 11. Flags coming in here. Brockers came across the line. Was he induced? Brad Allen with the call.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Jermaine Ifedi, the rookie. We go to Heather.
Well, when Chris was just talking about Aaron Donald, he actually watches film and then religiously scribbles into a notebook thoughts on his opponents, his feet, their hands, even the way that they shift their eyes. It started his junior year at Pitt, and once he realized how much faster it made him, it became an obsession. And when teammates ask for a scouting report on a specific player, he has to translate his notes for them. The contents are complete chaos, guys.
Hieroglyphics right there. Second down and 17, and Wilson's going to get taken down by Ethan Westbrooks, number 93 on the sack. So third and a mile upcoming.
Yeah, it really was an interesting conversation with Aaron Donald, wasn't it? I'm such a humble young man. And I loved what he was saying about his dad. Just he goes, I was a lazy kid, I admit it. And then I started lifting weights in part because my dad was such a tough guy, and my body started to change, and all of a sudden, totally into it. Started waking up at 4:30 in the morning to go work out. And look at him now, one of the absolute best.
One of their first-round picks. The other was Robinson in 14. Tyler Lockett makes the catch. And the ball comes out, but after the play was over, and it's fourth down.
Yeah, and here's one of the things that happens to you if you're Aaron Donald. This is the kind of treatment you get. One high, one low, and you just have to live in that world. J.J. Watt was the same way. You're going to get that kind of treatment even on passes away from you.
John Ryan in for his second punt. Tavon Austin. He's capable of breaking one. Standing back at his own 20-yard line. Austin is going to let it go. It's a short kick, and it will be down to the 31-yard line by Cassius Marsh. 4.5 to go in the half. John Schneider and Pete Carroll have made quite a combination. John, the general manager of the team, you look at the salary cap, $154.5 million. It's divided among 53 players, but a big chunk of that goes to 10 guys, 3 of whom are on offense, 7 of whom are on defense. That's what they put the premium here.
Yeah, and one of the things that they believe in is they're going to pay their best guys, period. And it just so happened that they didn't consider one of those top 10 to be an offensive lineman. So that's the reason they are so young and so inexpensive across the board on that offensive line.
Rams now have it from the 31-yard line. They begin here with Gurley picking up a yard. Tackled by Rubin. 2nd and 9.
Right there, Michael Bennett trying to find the ability to get that guy going again, trying to fight his way through traffic. This defense really has 2 X-factor guys on the defensive side. Earl Thomas one, Michael Bennett the other. Earl Thomas now injured and out, so they really need to get Michael Bennett going.
2nd and 9 from the 32-yard line. Not going deep and too deep, but a flag is thrown. Kenny Britt covered by Richard Sherman.
Holding. Defense, number 25. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
And there is the penalty on Sherman.
So many times receivers afraid to use an inside move when they're going deep. And you can see there a little rub across the chest, and they considered that to be enough. Richard did not consider that to be enough. Stated his case.
Richard, who loves to play on Thursday night.
You're terrible.
Well, you got to bring it up because it got a lot of play today. Ball at the 37-yard line. It's tossed back to Gurley, and he will go nowhere as he is wrapped up by Mike Morgan, the outside linebacker, 6th-year guy out of USC.
I mean, you know, you just got to be able to make this block. Lance Kendricks, pretty good player on the outside, strong guy, but you know, Mike Morgan just beats him to the edge right there. You got to be able to make that hook block if this play is going to work.
2nd down and 16. The Rams, last in the league in offense. They've run 25 plays for 46 yards. That's less than 2 yards per play. Of course, they've had drop passes and that big misfire by Goff when he had an open man. Here he fires, and that's caught by Kenny Britt. So they gain about as much yardage here as they had the last 15 or so minutes.
One of the things that you have to be able to do against this Seahawks defense is when they get in the 3-by-1 set, you'll end up with zone on this side. So you take these receivers across the board because it's man coverage on the other side. And oftentimes, if there is one weakness, if they don't get their typical pass rush, this throw will be available to them.
Gain of 24 at the Seahawk 45 on 1st down. Gurley slips to the left side, and around the corner he goes, and run out by Shed and by Terrell after a big gain here. A gain of 22 yards to the Seattle 23. 1st down.
Great patience that time by Todd Gurley. He's going to come in here and then bounce late when the defense starts to react back inside to him. And remember, this is a guy with great speed. He has like 4.4 or better speed on the outside. It's amazing how few big runs they've been able to hit with Todd Gurley compared to what he did a season ago.
Only his 2nd run this season of 20 or more. We come to the 2-minute warning. Rams on the move, but trailing 10-0 in Seattle. Time coming up. Tony Dungy speaking with Jameis Winston in advance of the Bucs and the Cowboys, a game we have flexed into on Sunday night, and the Dolphins fight to stay in playoff contention. They'll meet the Jets on Saturday night. That's coming your way. Alexis halftime. Sarah Palin has come down from Alaska to watch the Seattle Seahawks tonight. The CenturyLink Field is the Rams, with 2 minutes to go, have the ball at the 23-yard line on 1st down. And Goff under pressure throws, and it's juggled and almost intercepted. Sherman had it, tried to corral it again, couldn't. Intended for Kenny Britt. 2nd down.
And Richard Sherman's going to be sick on this one right here as he heads back. I keep thinking of Aaron Rodgers every time we see one of these throws deep down around the goal line. Aaron Rodgers believed, he said, you know, I learned the hard way about throwing it deep down here to Richard Sherman's side. Don't do it anymore. That was one he should have made.
Come up in the eye this time. Kendricks, the fullback, give it to Gurley, and he gets taken down at the 22-yard line. It will now be 3rd down and 9 for the Rams.
I just don't know if everybody understands how difficult it is playing offense inside this area of the field against a great defense, because so often everything is just smushed more together. The shorter the field, it feels like there's more defenders out there. And as a young quarterback, if you're ever going to make it in this league, you have to make plays like this in this situation to get your team back in the game.
Part of that smush is the crowd. the loudest in the league. It's 3rd down and 9. Goff retreats, then fires to the 19-yard line to Farrell Cooper. So earlier they went for a 4th down and 1. Now you've got a 4th down and 5.
I think you kicked this field goal.
I do too. You make it a 1-possession game. Got to get something on the board here.
Yeah, this game is by no means out of control. You've had a nice stretch. Oh,
boy. Seattle's going to take the timeout here before 4th down. So Saturday night on the NFL Network, Dolphins trying to stay in that AFC playoff hunt against the Jets. A special Saturday game coming away 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, only on the NFL Network. Wild card race right there. Oakland and Denver. If the season ended today, Denver would own the tiebreaker over Miami. Baltimore, Tennessee, Indy, and Buffalo still alive. John Fossil, he's a triathlete.
Saved a guy from drowning one time. He was caught up in a riptide, was out there doing a little surfing or boogie boarding or whatever, and another surfer saved this guy and brought him back into shore. They have a lot of help too.
Last year off Manhattan Beach, California. 36-yard attempt here for Greg Zuerlein. And the Rams were able to get on the board. So they started at their own 31, pick up 3, and we'll be back in 30 seconds. Sunday at 9, NFL Network. Eli Manning, he's now the NFL's current Iron Man. A look at that, along with a lot more on Game Day morning, Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern on the NFL Network. Space Needle here in Seattle. Love coming here. It's a fantastic city. Not alone in that either.
Nope.
Statistical update right there. Time of possession is about even. Yards are about even. And the game is a 1-possession game.
It was really all about that one drive where they made all the mistakes, where it looked like they were going to go down the field and score the touchdown and just couldn't make the final play to make it happen.
Back to receive the kick. Tyler Lockett. And Zuerlein sends it down to the end zone. Lockett. Good run back out to the 26-yard line with 48 seconds. And the Seahawks are out of timeouts. And now you've got Marquis Christian, the rookie, cornerback by trade, special teams performer, who's down on the turf.
Well, we talked about it. The Rams really had a great chance to have a tie score going in here. Mike Thomas is going to miss this one. He had a rough start to the game a week ago, muffing that opening kickoff, and then the layup by Jared Goff that he missed. And then the penalty there on Alec Ogletree, and then this short arm concrete elbow throw out by the punter Johnny Hecker. So they've had plenty of opportunities, just haven't made the plays.
Rams coming in as big underdogs, losing 8 of their last 9. Change coaches, 3 days rest. John Fossil, he's one of the best special teams coaches in the league, has been for years. Started in Baltimore with Brian Billick, then went to Oakland, and now several seasons with the Rams, both in St. Louis and LA.
Yeah, one of the great stories about him is he coached in NFL Europe at Amsterdam, and he took the job without pay. They promised him that they would pay him based on fine money. So if the players got fined, he got paid. If they didn't get fined, he didn't get paid. So I said, what, did you tell them all to break curfew? You know what? Yeah, it's a bizarre story, but true.
So Christian needs some assistance coming off the field. And, well, you're speaking of coaches' sons. That's Brandon Fisher, who's been the defensive backs coach, and that's Jeff's son. So tough situation, obviously, for him. But, you know, it's not unparalleled. We've seen this happen in the past.
Minnesota happened, right?
Norv Turner. Wade Phillips got fired in Dallas. His son was on the staff. And John Fossil was with Jim when Jim was an assistant coach in Baltimore, and he got fired. From the 27-yard line now, they give the ball to Rawls. And he chugs his way for a yard or so. Seahawks do not have a timeout. They will get the ball to start the second half, so they may just be content to go into the locker room at this point against this tough defense with a 7-point lead.
Yeah, you don't want to make a big mistake, and I think that really applies in a bit of a conversation I had with Darrell Bevell. He understands that the Seahawks defense should be able to hold this offense down. So they're not wanting to make the big mistake tonight to make it easy for the Rams. They want to make them earn everything.
2nd and 8, and they'll just run the clock out. Rolls with the carry, and that will take us to halftime. With the score, Seattle 10, Los Angeles 3. It's mid-December, Thursday night, week 15 of the NFL season begins in Seattle.
I don't know what you've been told, but football make you lose control.
Going deep downfield and open and dropping it.
I cannot believe the number of drops these Rams receivers have had. You don't get many shots like that.
And Wilson rolling against the grain, throws, caught, and into the end zone goes Luke Wilson for the touchdown. On to the second half in Seattle on Thursday Night Football. Seahawks leading by a score of 10-3, and they'll get the kickoff here. Jared Goff tonight, 7 of 15 for 67 yards. We had those drops. Russell Wilson, 11 of 14. The 1 touchdown pass to Luke Wilson. That Ram defense with a couple of sacks tonight, 10th straight game with 2+ versus Wilson. 3 drops, a failed fake punt, and a penalty on 4th down, a defensive penalty to keep a Seattle drive alive, and that is why the Seahawks lead at the break. Greg Zuerlein will kick off. Back to receive is Tyler Lockett. And the third quarter underway at CenturyLink Field. Lockett brings it out from the yard into the end zone and runs right into the Rams special group at the 13-yard line. We go to Heather.
Al, Pete Carroll's priority for the Seahawks is running the ball more. Just 15 rush yards in that first half. He said we need to do it with more varied play calling. Now, as for Rams interim head coach John Fossil, he admitted we're playing with a ton of emotion, but I think that's okay considering the week that we've had. As for will they try more punts and more fake punts considering the first time didn't work, he said absolutely.
Yeah. Playing it very aggressively tonight. And the defense keeping them very much in the game from the 18-yard line on first down. And the defense continues to do its job. Thomas Rawls. There's no running game at all tonight for the Seahawks, who have been very good running the ball in the last 4 weeks.
Well, it's tough to run when you got the big guy right in there and Donald just swimming around and not only getting around the blocks, but then having the athletic skills to get back in on the play. I mean, he didn't completely dominate in the first half the way that he has in some games, but here he comes out with a big play to start the second.
2nd and 10. Wilson sets up in the slot to the left. Give it to Rawls again, and he gets taken down as he crosses the line of scrimmage by William Hayes, number 95. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Seahawks.
Yeah, William Hayes, an interesting guy. If you saw any of the Hard Knock shows, he's a guy that hustles, makes tremendous plays, great player, and believes in mermaids. He was so happy to get out to the West Coast. Now, he doesn't think dinosaurs are real. He thinks that that's something that's made up and they just bury bones in the grounds. But mermaids, they're definitely real, and he's looking for them out in L.A.
Well, he'll find them, too. 3rd and 6. Seahawks with a win tonight clinch the NFC West title. Pressure on Wilson, but he steps up. He's going to get the first down, and he goes out of bounds on a 3rd and 6. Runs for 9. First down, Seattle.
Little pressure coming, and then you're going to get a drop out right there by Dominic Easley. And watch what happens when the receiver comes across. He takes him out, and that's what forces Russell Wilson to run the ball and pick up that first down.
Out of the gun, the 31. 3-yard pickup here for Thomas Rawls. Remember, Marshawn Lynch retired. He carried the load here for so many years. Then Rawls came along last year. And this year, of course, he started out as their #1 running back, got hurt. Missed about 6 or 7 weeks. And since he's come back, though, he's given them the added burst.
Boy, there's no question about it. And don't go crazy because they're not having a big day running against the Rams. This is a really good defensive front up here for the Rams.
Tom Cable, the offensive line coach. And that line provides a nice hole this time for Rawls, who takes the ball out to the 47-yard line on his longest carry of the night. A gain of 12.
Right out here, you're going to get George Fant, the young rookies, with a down block that time on Donald. Sometimes those speed guys, as they begin to move inside, you just take them wherever it is that they want to go. But there's some of the elusiveness of Thomas Rawls.
From the 47, Rawls spun down after he crosses the line of scrimmage. Cam Thomas right there.
Anytime you run that read option, basically you don't block one guy. So that's up to the quarterback to make the decision. Is he taking me or is he taking the running back? There goes Rawls. He thinks he's going that way and runs right by him.
Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator. Back in 2001, for 3 years, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. To the outside, and that's caught by Doug Baldwin. So Doug Baldwin, of course, he is the main man for Russell Wilson. And when you take a look at some of the numbers these guys have compiled through the years, they're spectacular. When these two guys hook up, since last year, week 14, that rating would be the highest in the league for a quarterback receiver combination. 19 touchdowns since week 14.
Yeah, collectively they had a rare rough day against the Green Bay Packers, but back on track now.
From the 45-yard line of the Rams. Blitz coming, and that is knocked down. Ogletree coming through the middle to swat it.
Yeah, and they had exactly what they wanted on the outside, a one-on-one route against Mike Jordan, the corner they've been picking on all night long. So that was a big knockdown because it would have been a first down.
Said 4th down, and it brings Ryan in to punt.
It was on the outside, no question about it, that Tyler Lockett was going to pick up that first down had it not been knocked down.
Tavon Austin sets up at his own 10-yard line. Fair catch called for at the 14-yard line. That's where the Rams will begin their first second-half drive. 10-3 Seahawks. Thursday Night Football being brought to you by the 2017 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. By T-Mobile, switch to the network built for unlimited data. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by Amazon Prime, get free 2-day shipping on millions of items. Speaking of Amazon, the corporate headquarters, Denny Triangle section of downtown Seattle. From the 14-yard line. Look out! Loses the ball and then is able to recover it at the 8-yard line. Cliff Averill, one of the masters of the sack fumble. And this time the Rams were able to keep possession as Goff is able to secure it.
Been a couple of tough weeks here for Rob Havenstein. Going to get beat by one of the best coming around the edge, Cliff Averill. But look how open he is here and almost turns back that way, his shoulders, which just opens the gate for Averill to drop that inside shoulder. And very lucky the Rams didn't turn it over right there.
Averill with 26 sack fumbles, most in the league since he came in 9 years ago with Detroit. And then give it to Austin, and then Goff is out there to block, and he gets it out to the 16-yard line. And Cam Chancellor is a little slow in getting up.
Same thing, the same read option, and this time they're going to leave Averill unblocked, and there just can't be a lot of experience there with those two guys, a wide receiver, doing that. And oh boy, that's big news there.
Very big news. Cam Chancellor needs the attention. Thursday Night Football being presented by Bud Light, beer with your team on it. CenturyLink Field in Seattle. Cam Chancellor, meanwhile, looks like it might be a back issue, but he has to come out. Kelson McRae, at least for a play, comes in here, and it's 3rd down and 8. Seahawks showing blitz. Oh, coming across too early, and that was Michael Bennett, and he will get whistled for the offside, and that's going to make it 3rd down and 3. Referee Brad Allen.
Offside, defense number 72, unimpeded. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Take a look at Tim Barnes right here, the center, and see if he does a little something here. Just a little movement right there. He did not pick it up. Michael Bennett saw it.
Just enough. And Chancellor is back in the game. That's the last thing they would need with Earl Thomas done for the year, to lose Chancellor again. He missed 4 games earlier this season with a groin injury. 3rd and 3.
They want to check him out.
Goff escapes for the moment, then gets sacked at the 14-yard line. Cassius Marsh. Well, you saw Kendricks coming into the slot, and they just did get it off, but a little confusion on that sequence.
Yeah, and this has been a struggle all year right here. Greg Robinson was benched a couple of weeks ago, and Cassius Marsh took advantage of him. It was interesting, though, when Lance Kendricks came down in motion and saw that he had the injured Cam Chancellor on him, he started clapping his hands, saying, "Get it to me," just didn't have time.
Hecker descended toward Lockett. And Lockett pulls for and makes the fair catch at his own 37-yard line. About halfway through the 3rd quarter, 7-point lead for the home team. With a throwback Thursday. Take a look at this. Super Bowl 35. And you've got young John Fossil handing the challenge flag to Dad. Ravens won that game. And Jim is here tonight, living down now in Southern California, watching his son, the interim head coach, make his head coaching debut. And he's got his team in the game, down 10-3. Seattle now starts this drive from its own 38-yard line. And Wilson gets open to Baldwin. Doug Baldwin to the 45-yard line. 1st down.
Nicely done by Doug Baldwin here. He's going to come run the corner right here. And when you throw on early downs, you get those linebackers stepping up. And Baldwin just so sharp around the edge. Those two guys have done that a whole bunch.
4 catches for Doug tonight for 34 yards. That's a gain of 17. Ball at the LA 45-yard line. Graham comes into the slot. Play action again. They go to the sideline. They go to Graham. Breaking tackles to the 14-yard line. Jimmy Graham. And it is Rawls. He needs his shoe tied, I think. No injury.
Right on the outside, again throwing on early downs enables you to go to that play action. Mark Barron stepped right up, and they threw it right behind him to Jimmy Graham, who's just that big, easy target to find.
And now Wilson and Rawls come running up to the huddle. Rawls, I think, either lost a shoe or needed it retied, and Wilson was there to provide the service, and that's why the play clock is down to 2, and he has to take a timeout. So all that came about because of the issue with Rawls, where Wilson had to provide. There it is right here.
Pit crew.
Help me out. Yep.
You know, and it's hard to tell sometimes. Alex Collins a week ago had some migraine issues, and he is really the other running back available to them tonight. Marcel Reese would be number 3, the fullback position. So they really prefer to have Rawls in there, and Russell Wilson was doing all he could do.
Now the guy they're going to get back, they hope, in a couple of weeks is C.J. Prosise, the rookie from Notre Dame, who looks so good.
In New England.
Yep, over a 3 or 4 week period.
Yep.
And that'll make a difference. 6:24 to go in the third. The ball is at the 14. Good play action. Look at that time for Wilson. Directing traffic. Flips it. Caught. Luke Wilson. Gain of 9. Crowd serenading Luke. 2nd down and 1.
You're going to see Russell Wilson as the zone dropper falls underneath. He's in coverage. Eugene Sims, but he had no choice. As Russell Wilson started to take off, Sims had to come back towards Wilson, and then that's it. Just drop it in over his head to Luke Wilson. That mobility, boy, when he's back and moving and making plays, it's so much a part of this offense, even when they're not running great like tonight.
2nd and 1. The Rawls, and he gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage. It's William Hayes having a nice night. Let's see where they spot this.
William Hayes, Michael Brockers. This is a tough D-line.
Very close to a 1st down. Wilson checking out the sticks.
Here we go. There's William Hayes. There's Brockers right there on the center. Those two with a big collision.
And now you're going to have another measurement. So if Pete Carroll thinks they have a 1st down, but they don't, he's out of challenges. He's already challenged 3 tonight. He joined us late.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't matter. And that makes it a 1st down and goal with the ball at the 4-yard line.
Yeah, and coming in the game now, Tanner McAvoy, we saw him take the center snap, former cornerback, former safety, made a big play for a touchdown against the Green Bay Packers. And a guy that really is becoming a bigger part of this offense as he heads to the sideline and kills my story. But they like his size. He's the one guy that I thought maybe a jump ball down in the end zone.
And at the Rolls, but the play clock was at 0. He's got a flag down.
False start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Luke Wilson, no relation to Owen. I was liking your story anyway. That was a good story.
Yeah, it was right on time. But, you know, he's really an interesting guy because he played safety at Wisconsin. He played wide receiver. He played quarterback. So he has some in-depth knowledge of what defenses are trying to do and all the different reads. They like him. They're going to play him more, but not that much more tonight.
10 penalties against the Seahawks tonight. Rawls swings to the outside and takes the ball down to 2 and then loses it. And Wilson is there to recover it just outside the goal line.
Looked like Mike Jordan ripped it out. I don't know if he was down or not. I guess it doesn't matter now. But watch Jordan here just as he's going to the ground, knees down, doesn't matter.
And the guy who's hurt right now is Jordan. Mike Jordan, the cornerback, rookie out of Missouri Western, the injury timeout. $12 million on the line. The show is called The Wall. The executive producer is LeBron James. who moonlights with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Special preview Monday, The Wall on NBC. Second and goal. Wilson rolling, looking back the other way, and incomplete. And it was Troy Hill covering. Jermaine Kearse was the intended receiver.
Get a hold on that one.
We do.
Defense, number 32. After the assist of the goal, automatic. First down.
Well, they just brought Troy Hill in the game, and right off the bat he gets a penalty, and we go to Heather.
Well, right now, Al, 4 Ram DBs are currently out. Rookie Mike Jordan, we saw just leave the field. Earlier, we saw DB Marquis Christian go down. He is ruled out with a right leg injury. And as you know, the Rams are thin in secondary. 2 starters out coming in tonight in Alexander and E.J. Gaines, and now even more shuffling in the defense.
And Steve Williams as well, another cornerback. So it's first down and goal. And Wilson rolling and then throws to the back of the end zone. A wrestling match going on here. The officials will confer. Did Jimmy Graham catch it?
Had it, but I think he was out of bounds.
Right. Bryce Hager, the linebacker, covering. But it's ruled no catch.
Somebody's going to rip it out of the hands of Jimmy Graham right here. That's when possession 1, 2, maybe even 3. Let's take a look. Possession is the key. When does that happen? Not one. If that foot is in, that is an interception. What a play by Hager.
Well, this
Los Angeles is challenging the ruling on the field.
Possession.
We will review the play.
Well, I think he is going to have an interception. Maybe even gotten that next foot down.
Back with the verdict after this.
After reviewing the play, ruling on the field stands. It's an incomplete pass. Los Angeles is charged with a timeout and loses their first challenge. It will be second down, Seattle.
Was there a little bobble in between here, Al? He's going to get possession right there. Now, does Graham pry it loose here for just a second? It looks like there's a little movement right there. Well,
right.
That's close.
Graham is touching the ball, and that's when he's out of bounds. And so it's a second and goal, and now they give the ball to Marcel Reese, and he can't get in. About as close as you can get. That's a game changer too.
Sure was, but I tell you, this Alec Ogletree's not giving up. That was a heck of a shot right there on the goal line. Coming across right here. Watch this. This looks like it's going to be a touchdown all the way. He's going to pop out and just drill him and not allow him to get one more inch. Sets up a big third down. This is a big play.
Third and goal. Baldwin for the touchdown. He beats Troy Hill.
Oh boy, what a move. For some reason, Troy Hill looks in at Russell Wilson, and that was a mistake. Watch this move. Woohoo! Ouch. What a move by Doug Baldwin. Ankle breaker.
Oh, when Jordan went out, Hill came in. Hill with a penalty. Then he has no chance on that one, and Seattle turns it into a 2-possession lead. Stephen Hauschka for the extra point. And with 3:12 remaining in the third quarter, Seahawks trying to clinch the NFC West, which they would do with a win tonight at 17-3 Seattle.
In the back of the end zone, watch Jimmy Graham's feet. So if he's out of bounds and touching the ball and it's loose, that makes the ball out of bounds. And there it is right there. So you got to watch everything anymore on these replays. You watch both guys, but it was really a heck of a play by Bryce Hager. Just not quite enough. And boy, what a game-changing play that could have been.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, the Rams have the ball. They're down by 7. Have it under the 20-yard line instead. Hill gets burned. Baldwin gets the touchdown. And it's 17-3. For Doug Baldwin now, that's 6 touchdown catches on the season.
You know, this has been a playoff-like approach to this game for Seattle. You know, they're not taking the big chances, not throwing it all over the park, relying on their defense, making sure they don't make big mistakes on offense, very methodical as opposed to what happened to them in Green Bay a week ago.
When they lost by 28. Each of these teams lost by 28 last Sunday. One back here by Pharaoh Cooper. And the flag is down. Seattle's already been penalized 10 times tonight. The Rams 4. And we will hear eventually from Mr. Brad Allen.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 34. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, it's on to Arlington, Texas. It's the Tampa Bay Bucks. 5 wins in a row. Jameis Winston at the helm. Great defense against the Dallas Cowboys. Longest current winning streaks. Tampa Bay and the Lions. There's never anything to talk about when we do a Cowboy game, is there? 11 straight wins, and all of a sudden, you know.
Quarterback controversy. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
It's incredible. But
Troy Aikman kind of called him out on that one today as well.
Well, of course, Tony Romo, the backup quarterback. Dak Prescott struggling over the past couple of weeks. The Cowboys come in 11-2, and Gurley tries to get around the edge, and he can't. Mike Morgan makes the tackle, and another flag.
It's like another face mask here.
There is no foul for grasping the face mask or the grasping the jersey. Second down.
All right. After all that, 2nd and 14. Jared Goff, the only question going into the draft this year, remember Tennessee had the original number 1, Rams mortgaged a lot of the future to get him. Would it be Goff or would it be Carson Wentz? And they went 1-2, and then Philadelphia traded up and wound up with Wentz. And then Goff sat on the bench. Case Keenum had the reins for the first 7 games, and then finally they went to Goff, and he's still looking for his first win of the season. 2nd down and 14. And that's fired over the middle to the 14-yard line, caught there by Lance Kendricks. His father, Jerry, played Major League Baseball and holds a record he's tied for. There it is. What did you say this morning when you looked at the shot of Jerry Goff?
Well, it may have been one of the 6 pass balls that he had, in his final game? Is that right?
Correct.
But he also had a home run.
Right.
And a couple of hits, 2 or 3 hits, so.
He played 90 games, and the last game he played in 1996, playing for the Astros at Montreal, had a home run and 6 pass balls. Playing the official score. 3rd and 9. All-out blitz. And Goff throws a wobbly pass that's incomplete. Downfield intended for the tight end, Lance Kendricks, and it's 4th down.
You know, they want to get the ball down the field, and I understand that. You just wonder if this offense could use a little bit more sort of getting Jared Goff out of the pocket some bootlegs, some things that maybe you see in a Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan kind of an offense, just to take a little pressure off this offensive line that's having a little trouble holding up here.
Good point. Real good point. Look at this punt. Lockett feels it going away, like Willie Mays in the World Series in '54, and brings it back to the 33-yard line. 61-yard punt. Well, one thing about Jeff Fisher, he won't set the record tonight. Most losses by a head coach in NFL history. Look at some of these names. Curly Lambeau had that record And then George Halas, who owned the team and coached the Bears 40 years. And then Tom Landry at one time had the record, most losses. Now Dan Reeves with 165 and Jeff Fisher. And all it proves is that, well, you've got to be a pretty good coach to last that long, to be in there long enough. And when you look at those names, I mean, I totally forgot about the fact Tom Landry at one time had held that mark.
Yeah, and they all had winning records.
Right.
So they've got the most losses, but the only reason they have the most losses is because they won enough games to keep those jobs for that period of time.
From the 33-yard line, Wilson escapes trouble, throws it to the 39-yard line. Rolls making the catch there. 86.
One of the things that makes Aaron Donald so good is his use of the hands. Said he had a great coach in high school that taught it to him at an early age, and he's been developing it ever since. But he would have been a great boxer. Every time you see him play a game, those hands are working inside and out, trying to get leverage, and very strong guy.
Hey, go there, Tenji.
Final minute of the third quarter. Rolls in the backfield, should be enough for the first down as he gets out to the 43-yard line. Ogletree stopping him there.
You know, it has to be frustrating for this Rams defense. You know, week after week, they're putting on a good performance, and Greg Williams guys are out there fighting, and they just can't get the offense, you know. And when you're in a market like Los Angeles, you got a lot of competition as far as what is showtime in Los Angeles. Makes it tough. I just can't imagine the next coach would not be, you know, if we're going to lose, let's put 30 on the board and see what happens after that. But we'll see.
That's entertainment. You're in Hollywood, you got to be good and you got to be entertaining. That's the end of the third quarter, with the Seattle Seahawks leading the Los Angeles Rams 17-3 on Thursday Night Football. Tonight's aerial coverage provided by Geico. Downtown Seattle, Washington. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Heather Cox. Thursday Night Football, 17-3 Seattle. It's second down and 11 from the Seahawks 43-yard line. And Wilson has that one batted and incomplete. Third down and 11. So that's Donald right there making his presence felt again.
Yeah, and he almost did it all on this one. Watch him go right through here, get his hands on the ball, and come very close to picking it off afterwards. Makes a dive, almost a J.J. Watt kind of play there, but just so hard. Everybody that plays against Aaron Donald, they know that ball just has to come out a little quicker than it does against other defenses.
Third and 11. Line does its job. Going deep downfield, getting free. Lockett, touchdown. .57 yards. Great work by the guys up front, giving Wilson the time. Johnson and Davis were back there covering. And the electric rocket takes it into the end zone.
Yeah, somebody made a big mistake here, because the safety is going to go this way, and it looked like Tremaine Johnson is going to think that he has help over the top, which he did not. Great read there by Russell Wilson. The minute he saw Cody Davis go to the middle of the field, he was going to take advantage of it, go right by their best corner, Tremaine Johnson. But I think that was a miscommunication on the back end. They had one safety look like it was in a two deep, and the other looking like he was playing center field.
Lockett likes prime time. That's his second touchdown of the season. The other was a 75-yard run on Sunday night a week and a half ago against Carolina. And the extra point by Hauschka is good. So 11 seconds into the fourth quarter. Seattle Seahawks on that 57-yard touchdown pass extend their lead to 24-3. Thursday Night Football brought to you by the new Volkswagen Golf All-Track with 4Motion all-wheel drive, by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL, by Old Navy, and by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon. That's the Chihuly Garden and Let's at the Seattle Center, celebrating the works and influence of Dale Chihuly. Galleries, garden, and a sprawling glass house. The great things about coming up to the Pacific Northwest. Coming out of the end zone is Farrell Cooper. He's taken down at the 20-yard line. Well, the Rams were in Cleveland, and then in 1946 on to Los Angeles, playing there for 49 years. You had Bob Waterfield, who was married to Jane Russell. You had Norm Van Brocklin in 1951, setting a single-season passing record. You had the fearsome foursome. Of course, Merlin Olsen, part of that illustrious group. Eric Dickerson in 84, single-season rushing record of 2,105 yards. The 49 years there, Stan Kroenke bought into the team when Georgia Frontieri owned it. When she died, he took over the rest of the team. We're in St. Louis for 21 years and now back whence they came. And Goff throws, and that pass is hauled in by Kenny Britton. Of course, the Rams are going to play at the Coliseum this year and for the next 2 years, and then Stan Kroenke building what will be a close to $3 billion stadium in Inglewood at the side of the old Hollywood Park racetrack.
I've seen a few renditions of that stadium. That is going to be a world shaker there.
No question. And as is the case with a lot of new facilities in the league, part of a larger development as well. From the 35-yard line, inside handoff goes to Gurley, and he gets knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. Rubin makes the tackle. So there is your artist rendering. That's 5 minutes away from LA International. And that's part of the reason that the league said, hey, you know, they approved the plan for Kroenke. He's got all the money to do this thing. And if it looks anything like that, it's going to be pretty spectacular.
I know you had a pretty special memory of seeing a Rams game when you first got out there, didn't you?
Absolutely, in the Coliseum when it used to seat 100,000. And the pass is incomplete. I mean, people talk about, well, LA won't support a team. I'm going, let me ask you a question. 1958, the Rams are playing the Bears. The crowd is 100,470. And they had another crowd of 100,000 later on that season. So Southern California is about twice as populated as it was then. So you can put 100,000 people in 1958. You think you can sell 60,000 seats in 2016?
Well, plus there's history there. You know, it's the Rams coming back. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with the San Diego Chargers as well.
Yes, it will be, because they have the option to come to LA and join the Rams in that new stadium. Three receivers, bunch to the left. Look out, and Goff's going to go down, and that's Michael Bennett, and sooner or later, number 72 is going to get a piece of Goff.
Going to do the big loop around. Avrill's going to go inside, and then here he comes all the way around the bend. Boy, if Michael Bennett gets back to being Michael Bennett after that knee injury, this is a different defense.
And a flag came down after the play, so there's a conference in regard to that going on. And it's a long conference.
There are two fouls on the defense on the play. Holding on the defense. That penalty is declined. Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense. That penalty will be accepted. 15 yards, automatic, first down.
So instead of a 4th and 25, somebody said something.
No, Michael, here we go. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
15 yards for twerking, and so it's a first down for the Rams. Officials still conferring. Maybe they're grading the twerk.
I don't think Antonio Brown's worried.
No.
think they're trying to figure out what to do with it because it was after the sack.
And there was defensive holding as well. So they want the yardage on one hand and the first down on the other.
He never said who the holding was on. A lot of times when they run that stunt, the defensive end, in that case, Cliff Averill, will grab the tackle so he can't get out to the looping Bennett. So maybe that's what the holding was, but I think it was Michael Bennett celebrating what will be a divisional title.
Yep. In another 13 minutes and 20 seconds, barring a phenomenal comeback. Oh, man. He gets slaughtered. Well, that's Bennett.
Oh, my.
And now Bennett is shaken up. So an injury timeout here for big number 72.
He went right through Tyler Higbee. Watch this. Bench presses Higbee off of him and then just almost got surprised himself. Didn't really see the back coming through and got caught right underneath the chin there.
Yeah, definitely. He was surprised right there. Needs some assistance in coming off the field. They'll check him out. He was checking out the replay on the board as he was coming off.
You know, now you go through a few tests over there on that sideline. Had to do the protocol and the whole bit there.
So Bennett, who missed 5 games with a knee injury, has come back. Frank Clark comes in for him. Malcolm Brown is now in the backfield, flanking Goff on a 2nd down and 12. And against the blitz. Going deep downfield, but out of bounds is Kenny Britt. Richard Sherman with him step for step. 3rd and 12. Well, the big thing for the Seahawks right now after they clinch the division crown is the 2 seed. Look at the Lions schedule. At the Giants Sunday, at Dallas a week from Monday, and then Green Bay at Detroit. That's tough, obviously. Seattle, Arizona comes in here, and then at San Francisco. Which schedule would you rather face?
You know, it's right there. And if Seattle gets a home game and just has to play one home game and one on the road, that's a whole different thing.
3rd and 12. And then it's caught by Brown, and he gets spun down. Pretty close to a first down by K.J. Wright.
I'll tell you, one thing you always say, there goes Michael Bennett. Not only a great player, but a guy we have a lot of laughs with over the years. He's quite the storyteller. I always enjoy watching the Seahawks tackle. They are guys at contact, and you saw it there that they do twisting and grabbing motions that makes the back almost want to get on the ground for fear of getting hurt somehow out of it. But they are Cobra-like the way they strike.
That's why they give up so little yardage after the catch. Meanwhile, I think we've seen more measurements tonight than we normally do in a month, and this one is good for a first down.
But I tell you, every experience that Jared Goff gets this year is only going to help him for next year. You have to go through this, whether you're Troy Aikman, whether you're John Elway, Dan Marino, it really doesn't matter. You have to go play in this stadium with this crowd noise and be able to survive a few hits by Michael Bennett. And that's the reason a lot of teams do just what the Rams have done. Hold off early, play them late.
From the 47-yard line. First down, play action, stepping up, throws on the run, caught over the middle. Tyler Higbee, the tight end, gets a Ram first down at the Seattle 39-yard line.
Well, that was nice that time by Jared Goff. He's going to face pressure right up the middle. Watch him just step around KJ Wright here, up in the middle of the pocket, keeps his eyes open, flips it down the middle of the field. I think they'll add a little bit more movement stuff for him in the years to come. Get him out of the pocket, get him bootlegging, help that running game some.
From the 38 on first down with 11:20 to go in the fourth. And that's caught. Crossing over the middle, making the catch. Tavon Austin being close to 8. Second and 2. Well, you look at this Rams team and how many first-round picks these guys have. Right now, look at Seattle. Seattle has one guy who was picked in the first round, Jermaine Ifedi, the guard. The Rams have a ton. They have 11 first-round choices, and they've got offense in the last couple of drafts. This is Gurley. Next year, their first rounder belongs to Tennessee.
And Tennessee's getting better and better, too. You know, they got their quarterback the year before with Marcus Mariota, and that's really the only reason the Rams were able to move up to that pick, because obviously they didn't need another quarterback. And then they had their choice of these two quarterbacks, and only time will tell which one would have been the correct choice.
Third down and 2 from the 30-yard line.
You already know they're going for it on fourth down, so you have the option of running if you want.
Fires over the middle, and that is caught, and that is a first down at the 17-yard line. Pulled in there by Pharaoh Cooper, rookie out of South Carolina. They picked him in the 4th round.
Yeah, you're going to see Pharaoh Cooper come down here and go inside, and actually Jared Goff made a better read than did Pharaoh Cooper, who's also a rookie. But with that lurker in the middle, Jared Goff had to keep that thing behind him, and Cooper able to hang on.
From the 17. Lofting it to the end zone and off the fingertips. Brian Quick. And incomplete. Quick scored one tonight early in the game for 25 yards.
You know, week after week, we never talk about him, but Deshaun Shedd, playing opposite Richard Sherman, gets all kinds of balls thrown his way. And week after week, he makes plays. It's not always beautiful. It's not always artistic. But that is the guy that is always under pressure in this defense. And he's had a pretty good year.
50 with the team, signed as a free agent back in 2012. Second and 10, play clock at 1. Blitz coming, chasing Goff away, flag gets thrown, and Goff with a ball gets slammed out of bounds at the 3 by Richard Sherman, knocking him off his feet, but there's a flag down back at the 28-yard line.
Man, Sherman came flying across the field.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
I mean, Richard Sherman never broke stride, flew all the way across the field, and Goff thought he was going to sneak in and took an unbelievable shot.
And on top of that, it's a hold against Los Angeles.
Goff's walking back and saying, that didn't even count. Goff took a big shot in that Falcons game, scoring a touchdown. Barely got across the line and was a bit staggered in that one. So, as all quarterbacks have to learn in this game, get out.
Second down and 20 upcoming. And I think it's a medical timeout. I mean,
the spotter
upstairs,
probably, yeah.
Upstairs, they called down and they said, get him out of the game. We got to check him out. So Goff, who doesn't want to come out of the game, will have to.
You could see Richard Sherman tried to get his helmet out of the way, but there was definitely some helmet-to-helmet contact there.
So Goff will get checked for a possible concussion. There's a medical observer up in the press box, and of course this was something that was put in recent times about being able to call down and say, get this guy out of the game. We got to check him out.
I agree with the call.
Yep, me too. That means Case Keenum is going to come in. Now, Keenum started the first 9 games. A lot of experience. Was with the Texans before the Rams. Got him in a trade in 2015. It was 4-5 this year. So Keenan comes in on a 2nd down and 20 from the 27-yard line. It goes right to the air, short, underneath. It's Cooper, and he takes the ball inside the 25, where it'll be 3rd down and long, 3rd and 16.
You know what was interesting this year was that Rob Boras took over as that offensive coordinator at the end of last year. They go 3-1 in their last 4 games. So they say, hey, this is working pretty well. We're going to keep Rob Boras as our offensive coordinator. They start this year 3-1. This is going pretty well. And then everything just fell apart from there. So they switch quarterbacks as it began to look like it wasn't going to work. And here we are now.
So have they dialed well on a 3rd and 16? That's Frank Clark doing a
Offside.
Michael Bennett imitation.
55 defense, unimpeded to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's what was so unusual about the Green Bay game a week ago. Playing against Aaron Rodgers, I was just surprised. We saw so much more of a Tabaruba and Tony McDaniel. They were trying to keep Aaron Rodgers in the pocket, and there goes Jared Goff off the field. But we never saw those top-end pass rushers as much. Cassius Marsh and Frank Clark.
Halfway through the 4th quarter, it's 3rd down and 11. Keenum, and that pass is short and incomplete, intended for Gurley. So a 21-point game, 4th and 11 in a situation where, well, I guess now you wouldn't think about a field goal under any circumstances. What am I talking about? I'm talking to myself here.
It's all right, we got time.
4th and 11.
Going to get man coverage on the outside with Cam Chancellor if you want that shot to your tight end.
And Keenan going to the end zone, and Sherman is there. And Austin is well covered, and that is incomplete and turns the ball over to Seattle.
Well, here's what Richard Sherman can do is he guards his guy and your guy as well. You'll see Sherman guarding his guy and then watch him fall off and make sure that Tavon Austin doesn't get it either.
NFL Thursday Night Football being presented by Bud Light. Beer with your team on it. Next Thursday, Thursday Night Football in Philadelphia, the Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles on NBC and the NFL Network. From the 18-yard line, work on the clock here a little bit as Thomas Rawls picks up 3. Richard Sherman, the ever quotable one. Well, he's having fun on Thursday night, despite.
You know what he's doing? He's explaining the play he just made. He was like, I was back, and I'm looking at the quarterback, and the minute I saw him drop his shoulders, I peeled back, got your guy, got you covered.
He doesn't like playing on 3 days rest, but the flip side of that is he gets 10 days off now. You get a half a bye week.
I think if you talk to the Dallas Cowboys players over the years, they would say they think playing on Thanksgiving is an advantage. Yes, you do have the short week, but from a player standpoint, what you don't have is practice. So you don't practice the week of a Thursday night game, and then of course you get 3 or 4 days off after that. So, you know, there's arguments to be made on both sides. I know Richard doesn't want to play on Thursday night, and there's a lot of people who agree with him. But, you know,
practice. Practice?
Hey, this time of year, you get a whole week off of practice. That's a good thing.
3rd and 9. And this is Lockett, who gets taken down. Keep the clock running. Tackled inbounds. It'll be 4th down.
You know, one of the things I loved about Russell Wilson in that Green Bay game, had a terrible game. Let's just tell the truth. Threw 5 interceptions. It just wasn't his day. but he never stopped firing, and he didn't come out of the game. He refused to come out of that game. And I remember Brett Favre once in a playoff game, I think it was in St. Louis, threw 6 interceptions, but never stopped firing. It was almost like he still thought he was going to throw 4 touchdowns and win the game. And I think that mentality, here we go.
Wide open, and that's John Ryan. And I mean, the Red Sea parted, and then he almost lost the ball, and he does lose it, and he goes down, and he might be hurt as well. So a trick play, he kept it. I mean, I've never seen a bigger gap, but all of a sudden at the end of the play, they may have lost their punter as well as the football.
Oh my gosh, the ball just fell out of his hands, and as he went to reach for it, he took a huge shot.
So with a 21-point lead, they run a fake punt on a 4th and 1. And the crowd is reacting as they see on the board the shot that he took at the end.
I think it was Troy Hill that came over with the hit. Just falls out and then just buries him down into the ground. About as big a hole as you'll see
ever. But now at least Ryan is able to get up, and he is assisted off the field.
Got hit in the back of the helmet, and sometimes those are the worst.
The night you love to hate on NBCSN hockey. Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals against Claude Giroux and the Flyers. Wednesday night rivalry, NBCSN, beginning at 7 Eastern time. Well, you had Seattle recovering the fumble by Nico Thorpe recovers it. You got Fossil with the challenge flag out. I have to assume it's about, did we recover or did they recover? And he's going to throw it.
Los Angeles is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble recovery by Seattle. We'll review the play.
Yet another challenge, and they take Ryan back to the locker room.
Ruling on the field stands. Los Angeles is charged with timeout and an unsuccessful challenge.
So LA challenged the fumble recovery. Take a look. You know, doesn't matter what you challenge, it opens up the entire play. Even if, let's say, the Rams would have won the challenge, they wouldn't have gotten the ball because Ryan, his knee goes down, he's going to get contacted with possession, and they would have ruled that the play was over there.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a pretty strong argument that they may have been able to have gotten the recovery. I'm not sure that was clear evidence anyway, but I thought his knee was down after he regained control.
Right. Either way, I mean, they ruled that it was recovered by Seattle. The ball is at the 40-yard line. Get Ogletree scaring somebody up front here, in a manner of speaking.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Touchdown.
The rookie Fetty, and we go to Heather.
Well, Al, we have 4 players from this game currently in their respective locker rooms with the UNC in the concussion protocol. Rams quarterback Jared Goff, Rams corner Mike Jordan, Seattle defensive end Michael Bennett, and now Seattle punter John Ryan. All 4 are officially questionable to return. And guys, John Ryan usually holds, so right now Russell Wilson practicing holding.
Right, Heather, and here comes another flag. We've got a ton of them tonight. And we saw Wilson actually checking it out, and now you've got the hat being thrown off.
Yeah, there was a flag thrown back at the official.
Yep.
And I think it was
somebody's going to get thrown out of the game. Well, if it's Aaron Donald, he was thrown out of the first game of the year in San Francisco.
Watch this. He catches it or almost and then throw it back to him.
Yep.
And we already know that's a no-no. We saw that earlier this year with Travis Kelce.
Personal foul. Grasping the face mask. Defense number 99. That 15-yard penalty will result in an automatic first down. There's also unsportsmanlike conduct, number 99, throwing the flag. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed as well. First down.
Well, that's why Brad Allen doesn't have a hat on, because he threw the flag and then they had to throw something else. And Donald gets thrown out of a game for the second time this season.
Yeah, Al, I'm not positive about this, but I'm just telling you that fake punt, and it was a fake punt. You could tell that it was a fake punt. If you're the Rams and some of those defensive players over there, I guarantee you at least one of them said, these guys are running up the score on us here in this situation, and things could get a little weird here at the end of this game.
Back up on one thing here. He was not thrown out of the game. It's just an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. You get 2. Up to the official if he wants to throw him out, but he didn't. So he has not been tossed. Still in the game. But you're right about that. In a situation like this, you run that fake punt, and you could see it even after the fake punt, after that play was over. There was some jostling going on.
I would keep an eye on Russell Wilson here to make sure nothing too strange started happening.
Walls gets taken down in the backfield. Plenty of tackles for loss tonight, turned in by the Rams.
The Seattle Seahawks have much bigger fish to fry in this season before it's all said and done. And I know Russell Wilson never wants to come out of the game, but you know, it's a frustrating year. Their coach has been fired for the Rams, and you know, they got beat for the fake punt there, and it's just everything starts to build on itself, and you got a big rival, and you know, I've seen stranger things happen than that.
Good town to have fish to fry in, by the way. 2nd and 12 from the 17. Tossed to Rosen. Here's another tackle for loss. This one by Ethan Westbrooks, and it'll be 3rd down and 20.
Ethan Westbrooks has had a nice game out here tonight. He's going to adjust just out with the motion here, comes across and leave himself in good position to almost take that pitch.
Tell you what, the Seahawks are averaging about 2 yards per rush if you throw out Ryan. Ryan is their leading rusher. He's tied with Rawls at the moment with 33 yards. Rawls has carried the ball 20 times and Ryan once.
He's taking a number in concussion protocol.
30-20. And Wilson going for the end zone, and it's going to be picked off at the 1-yard line by Ogletree. And he'll take that back to the 9-yard line. Yeah, Rams can't be too thrilled about that, even though they wind up with the interception.
And they ended up with a good shot on Russell Wilson, too.
Yes, they did. By Aaron Donald with 3:08 left.
Just watch at the end of the play, Aaron Donald, you see him coming right through there. Right as Russell Wilson throws it, just a little shot. Nothing illegal. I don't want to say that, but I just know how it sits with defensive players sometimes when they feel like their team had been slighted. And of course, you know, Pete Carroll will tell you, I'm trying to win the division. I'm trying to lock this whole thing up. But there have been some back and forth, and the Rams have had some huge special teams plays in the past. There's been a little chippiness going back and forth, and the punter took a shot one time at one of their defensive linemen, and then they almost came back and got him. There's some history here.
There sure is. Case Keenum is the quarterback, with Goff back in the locker room getting checked out. Keenum throws, short gain, caught there by Brian Quick up at the 13, tackled by Jerron Johnson. 2nd down.
And I'm sure Case Keenum knew what we was getting into this, right? You don't take the 1st overall pick a quarterback and think you're going to hold that job forever, but he did an okay job for this franchise as a backup quarterback.
And that's caught at the 25-yard line. Brian Quick making the catch. Thorpe with the tackle. 1st down.
Yeah, and it works both ways, too. Pete Carroll's been around the block a few times, too. So in return, now what are the Seahawks doing? They're firing blitzes left and right over at Case Keenum.
taken in by Michael Thomas. Second down.
I'm sure for John Fossil, not the result he dreamed about, but this certainly has to be the thrill of a lifetime to get an opportunity to be the head coach. And I still go back to that first drive out. They hit one of those 2 touchdowns and don't miss the wide open guy and convert on that 4th down. This is a different game.
No question. Second and 4. Incomplete, over the middle, intended for Austin. The Rams, this is their final road game of the season. They've been better on the road than they have been at home. And they will go home and end the year with 2 divisional foes in Arizona and San Francisco.
You have to like where Seattle is sitting right now with their remaining schedule and their chances of getting that bye. 1 home game, and then hopefully for them 1 shot at the championship and a return trip to the Super Bowl.
They don't even need a tiebreaker with Detroit because it's a half game that they're behind because of the tie with Arizona, and the pass floats and is incomplete. Intended for Todd Gurley, and that makes it 4th down and 4.
You know, Todd Gurley is not a bad receiver, and that was a big miss. The Rams have just missed opportunities. Gurley was going to have a chance, the very least, for a big play, if not a touchdown here, and the ball was at least 7 yards underthrown.
Fourth and 4, Rams down by 21. It's the 4th time tonight they've gone for it on 4th down. Haven't converted any. Still haven't. Austin makes the catch. Seattle will get the ball, and we go to the 2-minute warning with 1:57 on the clock. And Seattle on the cusp of clinching the NFC West on Thursday Night Football. On the Volkswagen postgame report, Heather on the field interviewed the star of the game, and we'll take a look ahead to Sunday Night Football, Tampa Bay at Dallas. CenturyLink Field, beautiful sight. Southern edge of downtown Seattle. A couple of kneel downs will end the game tomorrow at 9 on NFL Network. A passion that helped carry him to Canton. Kevin Green, profiled on A Football Life tomorrow, 9 Eastern time on the NFL Network. So Holly Collinsworth not here, unless you stayed off the Ferris wheel, fronting Elliott Bay on this trip. By the way, this will be the second clinch for Seattle this week. The Sounders soccer team won the MLS Cup, and they had a big parade here downtown on, I think it was Wednesday. And the Seahawks will tonight clinch the NFC West.
Yeah, and it was a good win too. It was a bit of a slugfest out there when Thomas Rawls only rushes 20 times for 34 yards. You know, it was a tough night, but Russell Wilson bouncing back, as everybody knew he would, from a tough day at Green Bay. Comes back and they clinch it at home, which people don't get overly excited about division titles in this town anymore, but that's the first step in the process.
And so one more kneel down will do it. Seattle will go to 9-4-1. The Rams will go to 4-10. John Fossil gets a couple of more games as the interim head coach. Pete Carroll has picked up another NFC West title. And the Seahawks win it by a score of 24-3. So coming up next, it will be the Volkswagen postgame report. This has been Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light.